My name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you for joining us. Renowned televangelist Dr. Lawrence Tete is asking men of God to be wise in how they disseminate election-related prophecies, stating some pastors even prophesy according to their feelings. He adds he's been led spiritually to organize a prayer rally ahead of the December 7 polls, and he claims Ghana would be worse off without the prayers of Christians.
You say you have a problem with how people want to predict the elections. Is there a problem at all, even as a man of God? Is there anything wrong with a prophet or a self-professed prophet, or even if he has a track record of fulfilled prophecies? Is there anything wrong with trying to predict the elections?
The truth is that we see in part and we prophesy in part. And sometimes the Bible says we should be as wise as serpent and as harmless as dove. The time we live in is a very sensitive time. So I think prediction is not the best thing for this time. Even if God has really released something to some people, they should have a way of relating it rather than going public and dividing the people. Every pastor has congregation. And certainly you can't tell me that all my congregation belong to NDC or MPP. So we need to be wise.
But all your congregation fear God. So if it's something that is coming from God, should the congregation have a problem, even if it's not what they want or it's not their will? As we all learn from the church, the will of God should be done. So if it's the voice of God and God is saying to the people, this is what you should do, should the division in your congregation matter?
I think the trend is quite sensitive now. We need to be very mindful about it. We've had different versions of the prophecies, and God cannot be divided in this different way. Most time our politicians will be speaking about peace, but what is the guarantee that they all mean the peace they speak? And I'm praying that we get to that place where we walk the talk. So we'll not just speak to impress the audience and the rallies we go to, but we'll walk the talk that way talking. And if you look at the trend now, this issue of culture of insult that is creeping within the rank and file of our community should be a very foreign and alien spirit that is just creeping into our country. And so we, the men of God, who think we have a right standing with God, should stand up to it and rather do things that will bring the people together. Now, I don't want to divide President John Mahama and Honorable Nana Duranga Akufo-Addo. I want them to understand that even if one of them lose, it's a win for Ghana and a lose for all. So that we don't come to that place where we get carried away that it's a must win for somebody. It is God who enthrones and it's He who makes kings. And so I keep saying this thing. We need a massive united front in this day and age we live in, so the will of the Lord will be made manifest in our lives. It's very important.
Okay, now you talk about it is God who enthrones and dethrones, and you talk about the will of God, and it brings me back to my question then. If it is God who enthrones, then God surely should know who's going to win the election. So what's wrong with a pastor or a prophet saying it?
I think that, as I rightly said, wisdom is very important. We need to make sure we don't create any upset and any uncertainty now. The fact that God has spoken to you doesn't mean we should not have a wiser and a better medium in spreading it. Now, if we have to go on radio and to be saying who wins, everybody, sometimes our interest can even make us feel like something's well. We just finished the election. They just finished the election in the USA. How many people didn't think Hillary would win? How many people didn't even think that Trump was nowhere close to election? But this is what happened. And we had prophecies. We had very renowned and seasoned men of God who predicted who was going to win. And some of them were highly disappointed. And it undermined the credibility of the clergy. So we need to make sure we keep, and this vocation of ours is very sensitive. The politician comes, the longest they can stay is 8 years and they are gone. But the clergy lives on. We don't get elected. And I will say this thing without shying away at all. But for the prayer that Ghanaians pray, Ghana would have been a mess today. During my time in Jerusalem, I went to the Wailing Wall to go and pray with my team. And whilst I was at the Wailing Wall, this thing dropped in my spirit, that when I come back to Ghana, I should put together a prayer rally where we will pray for the leaders, pray for President John Dramani Mahama, pray for Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, pray for Dr. Nduom, pray for Nana Kunadu Ajima Rollins, pray for Green Street, pray for all the leaders, pray for even the independent candidates. and a dread mama and believe God that God's choice become our choice.
And speaking of politicians, the Progressive People's Party's presidential candidate, Dr. Papakwesi Nduom, says he has some serious plans for the education sector. He's been outlining that at a meeting with the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, in Accra today. Here's excerpts.
Education, definitely from a personal standpoint and from the standpoint of the Progressive People's Party, education is very important to us because it's the bedrock for everything else that we hope to do for our country, Ghana. I like to point out everywhere I go that I come from a family of teachers. My mother was a teacher, retired as a head teacher. My father was a teacher, retired as a head teacher. And when my mother retired, she didn't stop there. She used her house as a school. And it got to be so many children, which obviously got my father to become every now and then agitated that he couldn't find anywhere to sit. So we, the children, were forced to build a school for her. And so the school is there in Elmina, happens to be one of the best schools as far as examination results are concerned. So I'm very familiar with the things that go on with teachers. There are a number of things that I would want to talk about, but let me straight away mention 4 things that I don't want to forget. First and foremost, under PPP administration, no teacher salaries will be delayed. Give us 6 months when we assume office, and every month, everybody who is brought into the system, at the end of their first month, they will start receiving their salaries. I don't understand the matter of salary delays. And also the matter of arrears. There will not be any such thing as salary arrears. I am in business, I have employees, and no employee of mine would want their salary not only to be delayed, but to even be in arrears. It is not a good way to run any kind of system. So under a PPP administration, the things to do with salary arrears, salary delays, they will not be experienced in Ghana as far as our public service is concerned. So that goes not just for teachers, but for the public service as a whole. And the things that have gone back and forth about teacher trainee allowances, for me, let me be very clear. Teacher trainee allowances will be guaranteed. We will be running into a system that will need for us to motivate more people to become teachers.
Now, John News has learned supporters of the NDC and NPP have clashed again during a rally at Walensea in the northern region. ASP Ebenezer Tete speaks for the police in that region. He joins us live on the line. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
What actually happened?
There was a rally at Chia, Nigeria by the MPP PC for the one, Mr. Thomas Okaja. During the rally, we are told supporters of the MPP and NDC clashed. The persons who sustained injuries as a result of the clash said they can identify some people who they claim are sympathizers of the NDC from a village called Kumboni. So as we speak now, 7 persons have sustained minor injuries. They were treated and discharged yesterday. Also, as a result of the clashes, the windscreen of the parliamentary candidate for the NDC, for the MPP, was also smashed. The police managed to quickly move in, although we were not notified of the event. The public order, we are supposed to be notified of any such event because they are public events, but the police was not notified. There was another similar rally by the parliamentary candidate for the NDC in another village. That's one too. The police was also not notified. So what is happening is that the political parties or the organizers of some of these rallies are going on their own, and the public orders, they are not informing or notifying police about the activities for the police to also plan and provide adequate space for them. And mind you, some of these rallies are held far away from the Woolensey town proper. So if the police does not have the information, there's no way the police will provide security.
ASP, let's take it step by step. You're saying how many people have been injured so far?
7.
7. And you're saying that the NDC and the NPP supporters clashed. What actually triggered the clash?
We cannot tell for now. As we speak now, we have not been able to pinpoint exactly what might have occasioned the clash. And that is subject matter of investigation as we speak now.
And you've just said in this interview that you did not, the people who organized these rallies did not notify the police. What do you intend to do about that? Because you're talking about a breach of the Public Order Act.
That's why I'm saying that there's an investigation ongoing. So it will inform the police as to what action should be taken. The Public Order Act clearly spells out what must be done. The event of public event being organized, and the organizers show to notify police, or if the event turns violent, it clearly spells out what should be done. So they are going to look at the Public Order Act, and whatever the Public Order Act is will comply accordingly.
But what is the security situation there now in the community?
As we speak now, calm as returned to the villages where this thing happened. The village was here in Nigeria. It's one of the communities, the Woolensey constituency. Calm has returned to here in Nigeria as we speak now.
Any arrests so far?
No.
Is there anything the police is doing to ensure the situation does not recur or does not escalate?
You see, the last time there was some slight problem in the area. The police met with two sides. Somebody was actually assaulted, and it was purely a criminal matter. But it was hyped as if there was some political coloration. The police met with the side, and we've been speaking with the side. You see, what the political parties must do at this critical time is to try and work hand in hand with the police. So, for instance, if you are going to organize some of these events, bring the police into the picture. If the event is going to create any problem, it will affect public peace, defense, and morality, and all those things. We can advise that you should go ahead or you shouldn't go ahead. Secondly, the political parties must come to the realization that the people that they are seeking to catch their eye, so to speak, want to vote based on issues, but not some of these petty things that make some of them to clash at the least provocation. We, by our numbers, we cannot be everywhere in the constituency. That is why the political parties must, act within the rules, and then they should refrain from some of these things. Because if, for instance, rallies are being held in the whole of the Woolensey Township, and the police is not informed about all these rallies, there is nothing that we can do, because if we send our men there, it will be helping them to perpetrate that illegality, because the law clearly spells out what they should do. And that we have been telling them. We've met with the political parties on countless occasions, even at times when the rallies are going to be held on the same day, but the distance is quite long. We provide security for both rallies to take place. So our advice to them is that they should try and collaborate. They should try and work.
Yes, ASP, and
police.
obviously that's what you should be discussing with the political parties. And you've just said that you've met them a number of occasions and discussed this with them. But as police, of course, you're also talking about numbers. But these areas. Sorry, ASP, let me land. These areas that are having violent cases, don't you think that it's time to give special attention to it instead of always saying that you don't have numbers to go to such places?
As I speak to you now, I am in a crunch meeting. The regional command is meeting, or the commanders across the region. We are meeting this morning at the regional headquarters, and exactly what you are saying is part of the reasons why we are meeting them. The officers have been asked to bring their deployment plan. Willency is an area to watch. It's part of our flashpoint area, and special attention is going to be given to some of these communities where there have been, pockets of violence, and it is going to inform us in deployment. Because, for instance, the areas where we have visit or designated as flashpoints are going to have extra security at the polling center. So yes, we are going to make special provision for some of these areas, including areas where, even though they have not been classified, but because of precedent, because of past experience, on election day, the tension in those areas. So yes, they are aware, and they are going to make the arrangement.
Mr. Tata, finally, you're talking about election day, which is in 11 days, but
it is election pre, and then the election day proper, and then post-election. These things I'm telling you are not election day activity alone. They are pre, post, and then even the election day proper. So these are things that we are going to do before, during, and after.
I just want to get the understanding that you're sending a lot of men there, or some extra men, to ensure that the situation does not escalate.
That is what I'm saying, that on election day, all the areas, including Willency, that we have identified as trouble spots, will have extra security. There will be no police properly. We are going to send men to those areas. In addition to that, we will be zoning the areas. For example, in the Tamale metropolis, where we have 3 constituencies to watch, we are going to zone the area, and there will be 3 separate patrol teams. So for Tamale metropolis, we will have 12 patrol teams patrolling the Tamale Central, Tamale North, and then Tamale South. Same thing will be done to Tolon, where we'll have 6 patrol teams, in addition to sending officers and men to those areas, man the polling centers.
All right, thank you very much, ASP Ebenezer Tete. He speaks for the police in the northern region, and you're watching News Desk on Joy News, your election headquarters. Stay with us. We'll be back with more. And you're watching News Desk on Joy News. 139 employees in the textile industry have lost their jobs. The company, Ghana Textile Printing Company Limited, GTP, says the economic conditions are not favorable to its daily operation. Some industry players have blamed the situation on the influx of pirated textile products flooding the market. They explain until the challenge of piracy in the industry is dealt with completely, the industry is likely to worsen impact both on workers and employers. With me in the studio is Abraham Kumsen, who is the General Secretary of the Textile, Garment and Leather Employees Union and a member of the Anti-Piracy Task Force. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Great. So 139 members of your members have been laid off. I will come to you, but first I have someone on the phone. Before we continue with the discussion with Mr. Abraham Kumsen, let's speak to TPO, the Union Secretary of GTP Local Union, Mr. John Akon. He joins us on the phone now. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
So what explanation beyond what we are learning was given to some of these members who were laid off?
Sorry, come again.
Yes, I'm saying that apart from the economic conditions, were there any other explanations given to members who have been laid off?
I think basically it is all about the economic condition and our Chinese trying to also bring textiles in the country that is making the ordinary Ghanaian decide to go for cheaper textiles than ours, which is really affecting our market. And that is why we think that keeping all the number of workers that we have would not be possible. And that management decided that they have to let some people go.
Is there any particular criteria for laying off people?
Yes, there is a criteria in our collective agreement, and that is what they use. That is under the redundancy article.
And is there any special package for these people who have been laid off?
Yes, there is a package for them. There is a collective agreement, and what we have in a collective agreement is exactly what management is using to lay them off.
All right, we'll end it here. Thank you very much. Abraham Kumsin is in the studio with me. So I was saying earlier that 139 of your members have been laid off. What do you make of it?
More are going to go. Not this is only GDP, ATL, Printex. They are all, on their marks, and anything can happen to them also.
You should be worried about it.
We started worrying about 20-something years ago, and the situation hasn't changed.
You are a member of the anti-piracy task force. What have you done about the situation? Because one of the things they mentioned is that, there are a lot of fake textiles on the markets, making it difficult for the quality ones, which are a bit expensive to sell.
Look, if we even go and sleep in the market, these people will bring them. Almost every day, we make arrests. I don't know whether they don't use money to. I don't know how they bring these things, because you arrest them today, tomorrow you go there, you see more of these goods there. So I don't know. It's only that we have to, for some time now. I think the last time we bent some of these cloth was January last year. We haven't done it. Perhaps they think that the exercise has stopped, and that eventually they can come back and come and collect their cloth. That's what maybe they think. So if we start burning, or if we continue burning, it will send very strong signals to them to know that really we are serious.
I'll come back to you, Mr. Kumsin, but I still have Mr. Kon on the line with me, and I wanted to know from him, Mr. Kon, are the affected staff contesting the decision in any way, the decision to lay them off?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Kon, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. I was asking whether the affected staff are contesting the decision in any way, the decision to lay them off.
Not really. We just have some few people who might have it as a shock, but in actual fact, management made it in such a way that it was very open for discussion. And we have workers who have been working there for some time now, so to some of them, it was an opportunity for them to exit the factory through having the package that we have signed in our collective agreement. So, we don't really have workers who are contesting the decision, because what we have in our collective agreement, management decided not to reduce it, but rather enhance it. So we don't have people really contesting the decision.
But you are saying that they already found it as an opportunity to move on anyway, but what have they been saying?
Sorry?
I'm saying that you just said that these people found it as an opportunity to move on, but what do they tell you?
Yes, because before the exercise, we decided to open it up to those who think that this is what management is saying. Management wants to reduce staff, but all the same, they don't want to just use their discretion to pick anybody at all to go. So it was open that anybody who wishes to exit should bring his name. And we had a number of them bringing their name.
All right, thank you, Mr. Akon. Abraham Kumsin is still in the studio with me. So you are saying that you've done a lot, nothing is being done, but at least being a member of the task force, you're in contact with those who are supposed to enforce the laws at our borders and other places. How come you're saying you've still not been able to do anything with this?
Sometimes the customs, I know, they are doing what they can, but some of the custom officers, you know, network with these smugglers and, you know, manage to bring them here, because we have had occasions where we chanced upon, you know, customs having seized some trucks. We wanted to, you know, find out what we can do about it, and the customs guys did not allow. We even wrote officially to the commissioner, but it appears some officers in the system are not helping at all. That one, I may say it.
If you say some people in the system, what do you mean? Who are those people?
Customs people, some of them are not cooperating. That is it. And they are the people who should be able to intercept these goods at the, you know, border, if not even the borders, because the borders are porous. But on their way into the, you know, market, they have the means to, you know, intercept them. But sometimes you see them, you know, sort of working together.
But could it be that the punishment for such people who do that are not biting enough, and so just intercepting the goods would not punish them, would not deter anybody?
You mean deter the...
As in, what sort of punishment? Yes, you are part of the task force. There should be some deterring, you know, punishment for such people who are involved in that, and you should be one of those working on such things.
That is an issue that maybe after the elections will come back. At this time, if you raise issues of, you know, punitive punishment, no government at this time will want to, you know, impose such. They will not do it. It may be after the elections, then we see.
But you're saying that you've been working on this for more than 10 years. Did you even say 20 years?
Yes.
Yes, and all this while you didn't think that these methods we've been using to deal with the situation did not work, and so we needed to get punitive measures or actions against these people?
The laws are there, all right. The issue has to do with enforcement. We have the laws there, you know, that, you know, these goods that are not, you know, approved by us should be seized and destroyed. You understand? Is there? But how often can we? And this election period.
Let's not even talk about election period, because this thing has been going on for some time now. Task force, you're part of the enforcement team. How come you've not been able to enforce it? The laws, you're also supposed to enforce the law.
We've been doing our part. That is when we seize the goods. At the moment, we have a lot of these seized products with the police and some with the Ministry of Trade, and going to burn them at this. That's why I'm making reference to the elections, because otherwise, on the normal circumstances, burning cloth, it shouldn't cost much.
Okay, beyond burning them, you find it as a criminal offense. You could cause the police to arrest them. Have you done any of that?
What happens is that when we arrest them, none of these traders will own up. They will come forward to claim ownership. They won't come. So if they don't come, who are you going to prosecute? We come to the market to come and seize the goods, and if truly you have invested into this business, you will by all means follow up to the police station to come to, you know, claim ownership. But they won't come. So the goods are there. They won't come. That's the problem that we have. But you let this season pass.
No, why should the season pass? Because people are being laid off.
Oh, for the layoff, as I told you, the industry used to employ 30,000 all over. That was in the 80s. As we speak now, the numbers have reduced to less than 3,000.
But this is not something you should boast about, because then it means that Ghanaian industries are collapsing, and you shouldn't be happy about it.
So this one community, one factory thing, I don't know how it's going to work. So let's let's wait.
You're happy that a lot of people are getting unemployed?
No, but what can I do as a worker myself? I don't have the powers to change anything. But you see, I don't want to put this blame on the doorstep of any particular party or government. They all come and say the same thing, and things remain as they are. And GTP, for instance, government used to have 30% shares. By then, I was a member representing government interest there. Then at the point, they felt it wasn't necessary for them to continue, being part of that business, and they have sold off their shares. As I speak, I don't think government has even 1% shares there.
Mr. Kumsin, you're sounding like you've given up on this fight already.
But what can I do? I'm a human being. I'm growing. I'm grown already. So you fight this thing till you go to the grave. At a point, you must pause and think about yourself, how you survive.
But once again, in this interview, you also said that you'll be, after the elections, you do something about it. What differently do you intend to do?
Not me. There are people there who are working. If I'll be alive by then, I will advise them as to how to go about it. But we cannot be fighting this fight for close to, since 1990 that we started this thing. And the problems are still there. So we are only praying that every community gets factory so that we see how it is going to be managed.
Do you feel that the task force is not working, and how do you deal with
the
this?
The task force is working all right. As
in the work of the task force is not yielding any positive results?
No, you see, what I'm saying is that if you are dealing with recalcitrant traders and they have some links with people who are supposed to, check these things, it makes the work very difficult. I'm not a policeman. I'm not a customs officer. I'm an ordinary worker who wants to save my job, and people in authority to assist are not playing their part. And that's the problem that some of us have. And I am saying that customs people, not all of them, not customs administration, but some of them are a big problem to us because some of them are deeply involved in this smuggling of goods into the market.
You're saying that you are handing over to other people to take, this fight on after the elections, and you will advise them differently. What is that different advice you're going to give them to ensure that this works?
No, what is important is the prosecution will be very difficult. But as I said, if you arrest them, none of them will own up, will come to the police to come and say, yes, I own this and that, I want to defend the work. They won't come. So if they don't come, what has to be done is send these products to the incinerator and go and destroy them. That's what. So if it means that every week we have to destroy cloth, we have to be doing it. Perhaps that can send very strong signals to whoever is into that kind of business.
Thank you very much, Abraham Kumsin, there talking to us about the laying off of about 139 textile workers. And you're watching News Desk on Joy News.